Hi everyone, day number 24 of 365 Science of Mind. My name is Antonio Thornton. Appreciate you joining me for today's lesson. And today's lesson is I accept my individuality. And the quote here is, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. And that is from 1 Corinthians 12, verses 4 and 5. And the text reads, it is right and necessary that we should be individuals. If two persons were exactly alike, one would be unnecessary in the scheme of things. Emerson said that imitation is suicide. The divine spirit never made any two things alike. No two rose bushes, two snowflakes, two grains of sand, nor two persons. We are all just a little unique. For each wears a different face, but behind each is the one presence, and that's God. Unity does not mean uniformity. Unity means that everything draws its strength, its power, and its ability to live from one source. One life does flow through everything, but this life is never monotonous. It is forever doing new things in you and in me. And the affirmation and meditation for today is, I affirm that I too am of this original spirit and that it is doing something new through me today. Therefore, everything I do is original. It is a new creation. There's a new enthusiasm, a new zest for life. Even the old songs I sing are different because of a renewed influx coming from the maker of all music. And I'm going to read a couple of sentences from the second paragraph of the meditation here. The divine spirit is flowing through me in an individual way, and I accept the genius of my own being. Since the original artist is doing something new through me today, I do not imitate others. And further down, all the presence there is flowing through me in an original manner. I invite the inspiration, the illumination, and the guidance of God and gladly cooperate with them. So I'm going to go back. I want to read this one sentence that I skipped over here, but I think is pretty powerful for this lesson and very relevant. It says, gladly I recognize and unite with the genius in others, but always keep the uniqueness of my own personality. So, this is a fun lesson. I say fun because it creates conversation and dialogue about who we are, what we are, why we're here, and what this experience is. I've said multiple times, when you've heard the phrase, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And this talks about our uniqueness, if you will, in that we are all individuations of the one mind, the one source, one spirit. So if you were to try to visualize, well, let's take, for example, my hand. You have these fingers that are seemingly separate, but they're all connected to the one whole here, and this isn't an exact example, so I want you to keep that in mind. This is not an exact example of what this lesson and what I'm talking about here, but it gives you a decent visual. I think if I was looking for more of an exact example, I might have like some mesh in between my fingers to connect them this way and this way, but I don't have any mesh. Maybe I'll mess around with my new video editing software and put some CGI mesh in my fingers. Who knows? We'll see. if the mesh is there, that means I'm awesome. If it's not, that means I couldn't figure it out. But anyway, my point is that you've got the one whole, and you've got these seemingly separate things, but they're all still a part of the whole. So again, not the perfect example, but it still gives you a visual of how we are individuations of this one source, but not individuals and not separate from it. Not as you would say, this pen, quote unquote, is separate from my hand. It's not that we are separate from source. So I think, and I want to be very clear about the terminology here when we talk about individuality versus individual and individuations. What is an individuation? Is again talking about that one whole, and that here that same one source, that same mind has created these individuations of consciousness, such as myself and you. You know, really deep, really can get into a really deep conversation there. But really look at it from a surface level, if you will, more easily digestible, looking at it from this same perspective as if you would your hand, in that you're not separate, but you're an individuation. So that you don't get confused with the word individual, which in itself creates separation. So that's why I say this can be a tricky conversation, but fun nonetheless, because it creates the dialogue of really what are we at the end of the day, who are we and what are we functioning as? And that gets into some really cool and funky stuff as well. But back to the lesson here, I am an individuation. The consciousness of Antonio is an individuation of the one source, and my consciousness does not need to be the same or even like anyone else's. Emerson says that imitation is suicide, and that's a huge statement to make, because it is futile to try to be someone else. Even twins have their own personality. They may experience a lot of the same things. Of course, they look the same, etc., but they're still individuations, in that they're not the exact same. So no two rosebuds, two snowflakes, grains of sand, nor two persons. We are just a little unique, for each wears a different face. Each wears a different face in physicality and in consciousness. Not just physical face, but in physicality and in consciousness. But behind each is one presence, God. God. So the idea, again, the next sentence, unity does not mean uniformity. Just because we are all one, I say that we're part of this one, this one soup of the universe, if you want to call it that. This one field of existence, this one presence. Just because we are all that does not mean uniformity. Unity means that everything draws its strength, its power, and ability to live from one source. And that, again, very powerful conversation. One life flows through everything, but it is not monotonous. So what can we take from a practical standpoint from this? Again, I talked about how our senses fool us into thinking that we are individuals. I'm over here, you're over there. But recognizing that we do have our own individuation, our own personality, our own consciousness, our own stream of consciousness that flows from the one source. Our individuations flow from that to create our experience and to create the interaction and experiences that we have with others. And the one thing that I really liked here, where did it go? Gladly, I recognize and unite with the genius in others, but always keep the uniqueness of my own personality. And when I talk about not trying to be someone else, there's nothing wrong with modeling someone, particularly modeling their behaviors, modeling their habits, modeling the things that they may do in order to accomplish a particular thing, but not trying to be them. And I think that's what this sentence is saying here. Recognizing and uniting with the genius in others, but always keeping the uniqueness of my own personality. So with that, determining, based on what it is you have determined you want for yourself, yes, and this is I guess a tip not directly in this particular lesson, but something to surely consider, is that you can seek out those who are doing the thing that you want to do in your life. You can seek out those who are in the position that you want to be in and model them, yet keep your own personality, keep your own individuality, and not allow yourself to be drawn into wanting to be them. And the other lesson here is, well, you know what? I think that's really the premise, because we can get caught up in the conversation of our oneness, our wholeness, but as the text says, unity does not mean uniformity. We aren't exactly the same. We all have our own consciousness, own personality, and staying true to that, no matter what. Staying true to who you are, no matter what you are looking to do, as long as it's in alignment with what it is you desire for yourself. So great lesson here, really great lesson. And as with most lessons, there's the lesson itself, and then there are a few things that I love to pull out, but some of them can create even deeper conversations. When we talk about individuality, when we talk about individuations, and how does that actually function? I'm gonna start another probably a private group where we start getting into deeper conversations like that, and what do these things mean? How do we function knowing that we are part of this plane of existence? But that'll be in a few weeks to come down the road. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's lesson. And as always, please do like and share. Just take a quick second and click that like button if you like it. And if you don't, always feel free to leave me your comments to let me know what I can do to improve to make this a better experience for you as well. But I do appreciate you for joining me on my journey. I am fortunate enough to be sharing this with you, but as I mentioned from the very beginning, I'm learning and implementing these same lessons in my life on a day-to-day basis, and what better way to do that than with you guys following along with your support, feedback, and public accountability is another thing that I would say is a big part of this as well. So I appreciate you guys for holding me accountable with creating the life that I desire. So again, like the video, share it with your folks. If you're watching this on YouTube, you got all the sharing icons down there. Share it all over the place if you can. And also subscribe. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for day number 24 and of 365 Science of Mind. You can grab the book with the link in the description below. And I look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow, day number 25. Take care.